Do you think it's better to write specifically the technology you're using or make it general? Like, I think Ray Bradbury in his stuff, he wasn't specific with the technology, so you could use your imagination and fill in the blanks, but today, would someone say, "Oh, an iPhone 15," would you reference that, or would it age poorly, or would it age well because of it?
I wanna say might age well, because if I were to look back at that, if I were, like, let's say, like, 20 years in the future, and I look back and I'm reading a book and it says, like, the iPhone 5 or something, I'm gonna go, "What?" 'Cause
Yeah,
it feels it's a different time period, and I feel like that also might enhance the story in terms of, like, the
yeah,
time pe that it's based in, and what the characters are probably going through, and how it's gonna be different than, like, a contemporary book for that time period.
yeah. I always think about the reason I bring this up is 'cause, Ludacris has a song called "Roll Out." I think it's in "Roll Out," where he brags about having a PlayStation 2 in his ride. And I always thought about that, like, is that gonna age well or bad? Because as we go farther, it's like PS2 is old, but during the time, it's like the thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I always
I don't
think
know,
about that in, like, culture.
I see that kind of like the museum situation too, where it's just
Yeah,
preserved, and it's like, that's the day and age, the period and everything where that's preserved specifically because that was the meaning behind it is still there. It's still like, that was a big thing, and it's kinda like reading or even, watching old TV shows and stuff, kinda like the older, like, Price is Right, stuff like that. Because I love Price is
yeah,
Right. I will say that, I love it.
yeah,
But looking back at shows like that where it's like, guess the price for this, like, rice-a-roni, and you're thinking in your head price is now, like, $6 for that pack, but it's really, like, $2, and you're like,
yeah.
"That's cheap," but then you think about it, and it's like, for that time period, that's probably they're expensive. Like, it's I think it's pretty cool.
I like watching, old commercials. You know, when
Oh, yeah.
we think about how annoying ads are today, but when they're, like, 20 or, like, older, you could just watch them, and it's, like, such an interesting thing, I feel like. It's a
Mhm.
cultural kinda, like, time capsule. Um,
It's interesting because I actually really like the old, like, kid commercials where it's, like, the wobble ball and stuff like
yeah,
that, the ones that you blow up.
yeah,
I love those commercials. Those are, like, very nostalgic to me whenever I see something related to them,
yeah.
and, like, how they used to advertise through commercials, like, for the Pillow Pets when they first came out, all of those.
Huh. What's your when you're at your best, what does your creative process look like? Describe that.
Ooh, when I'm at my best, think I think it's still relatively the same, but I get really locked into my project, so I will just keep writing and writing, like, someone can talk to me, and I not to be rude, but I just won't respond because 'cause I'm just so
Okay.
in the moment with it, and I would still just whatever's in my head and I think it's a good idea or I really like where it's going with my story, I start writing it down and I just keep going with it. Even if there's, like, spelling errors, mistakes, or anything, I just keep going, and then I'll go back once I, like, reach kind of not quite like a roadblock, but a moment to just stop for a second, and I'll go back, quickly fix the errors, just, like, the spell check really quick, then go back, and then I'll be like, "Okay, so now how does this tie back into everything else? Or how do I want this to tie into the future of the story?" So, I'll just get pretty good chunks in, actually. Some, like,
Yeah.
between, like, couple paragraphs to, like, page or 2.
What, what's the environment look like?
Oh, it's sometimes quiet, sometimes I have music playing in the background. or like a TV show or something. I typically will probably like sit on a couch somewhere comfy, and then I'll just have my
Oh, okay.
laptop on my lap and just start typing away. Or if I don't have my laptop, I write it down like hand notes, and I'll just start writing it, and then I'll keep it with me until I can write it down somewhere.
Huh. So not like at a desk like that?
No, I had a lap desk, but then my laptop kept sliding off of it, so I need to invest in, like, a better one, but I don't have a desk. If I had a desk, I can't even say I would for sure, like, 100% use it for that.
Mm.
I probably would at times, but it wouldn't be, like, my spot, probably.